reading.
Definitely. And don't forget also, when the bill goes for debate in the House, there's all this input from members.
Who are not experts.
Yeah, who are not experts.
Largely, they are not experts.
Yeah, that is true, but they're debating after expert input.
Okay, it's a tightrope walk because you sought expert opinion, and this is what you produced.
It applies across.
At the best. Yes,
it's not just about this bill. It applies across any bill you see churned out in our parliament, in the Senate and in the National Assembly.
Does it take into consideration when these experts come on board the atmosphere? And I'm pulling on this from something that I keep referencing it, that the Supreme Court Judge Isaac Lenaola said when they make their judgments. And they said, we take into consideration what happens around us by the time we are making a judgment, because it cannot just be the books and my singular interpretation of something. So does it also happen?
I'm a lawyer. That is called judicial notice.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
Lawyers,
So when this is happening, when experts sit around the table or wherever it is, they sit around to come up with something like this, do they take into consideration the why of why they're doing this? Or is it, we've been asked to come up with a bill. Exactly. Let's do it. Do they take into consideration Karen Nyamu or whomever else may have asked them to put this together? Or are they just doing a job? I'm sure you know why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, even if they don't, you see, the final say comes with the people's representatives.
However, when your output is a cake, the things that you put into the cake will determine the things that you put into the bowl will determine what kind of cake you put in.
Yeah.
So if you put in eggs and carrots, you're going to have a carrot cake. You put in cucumber and garlic, you're probably not going to get a tiramisu, right? If somebody has been told, this is the outcome that we are trying to achieve, what are the chances then that me as an expert or anybody else as an expert sitting down to charge it is influenced by the one who asked me to put it together? What are the chances?
Well, I want to say that it doesn't really matter at that stage, because when it comes to the House, the people who debate on it are people's representative. You've said they're not experts. So what they're interested in is the letter and spirit of the provisions of this law and how it affects the people on the ground. They may not know the technicalities and all that, but they know that our people will be affected in one way or another by this, and we cannot allow this. So if an expert puts in some input that can have grave consequences on the ground, we are the people's watchdogs in the Senate, in the National Assembly, because it will also go to the National Assembly. And there are things that will not go past us, especially if they affect the common mwananchi negatively.
So ultimately, we'll have regulations for this bill, right? And part of what I think that experts like RISPA is asking for is that inclusion aspect of it. But what is the space for engagement beyond public participation? I'm saying this because in some of the processes that we have seen like this, Senator, progressive processes like this have ended up being petitioned in courts of law. We've had people going there and stopping processes. For this goodwill, how much buy-in is open for experts, even beyond public participation, before and during public participation?
Well, I think the only window for goodwill buy-in is at the public participation. And after the input, I'm going to repeat myself, because the question you're asking, I think I had already addressed. After all this input, the Committee of IT sits down and goes through it and factors it in the law with all the good intentions, without wanting to lock anyone out, without having ulterior motives. And so I don't think there's more goodwill.
So, for example, if RISPA and her caucus and the caucus of a community of practice on data protection, I think it's called Society something, Internet Society of Kenya, they put up a breakfast meeting and invite the mover of the motion. You think that's something you can be able to do?
Yes.
If other people who are maybe investors invite the mover of the motion and the team from Senate for a lunch meeting, or just a session to break down the bill? Is something that you can
something I can do, but it will still end up in the feedback of the public participation. Because at this